Ooh, yeah, I am excited about this one. So switching it up this week, I teamed up with Eli Lesser from the Instagram account ThisWeekInMLS to give you our official MLS is Back group stage predictions. But before you guys even watch this video, I am telling you to go on Instagram and give this guy a follow because he knows his stuff. Not only does he break the news, but he also provides commentary and tells you why the news is big and how it will affect the season. This Week in MLS, he is a must follow. And if you don't have Instagram, well, make an Instagram because it's totally worth it. All right, two things before we hop into the predictions. First, the internet, not always perfect. So at times during the stream, it does get a little choppy, but we made it work. And two, this was recorded on Saturday before the news of FC Dallas officially withdrawing from the tournament. So keep that in mind. Now, with all that being said, at the end, make sure you let us know who you think is advancing from the MLS is Back group stages. All right, let's do it.
And we're recording. Eli, what's going on, man?
Hey, Danny, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to finally do this. I'm excited to meet with you for the first time and to talk MLS is Back.
Yeah, I am very excited for MLS is Back. And man, the idea of having every single day is just a heaven to me.
Yes.
I'm sure it is for you.
I am so done watching replays and EMLS. Like, let's just get to the games. I don't care that there's no fans in the stands. I'll work past that. Like, I'm just excited to get this going. Do you like the fact that the groups were separated like East and West? Or, because for me, I wanted them to integrate it. That's like my one, like, I guess, thing I don't like about the tournament. I wish they would have integrated the groups. But what do you think?
You know, I agree. I wish they did integrate the group, but I kind of understand why they didn't, because these games, the group stage matches, it's the regular season, so I think they wanted to give them the regular season opponents they would normally face.
Yeah.
But this would have been the perfect opportunity to have a group with like an LAFC and that same group fighting for that promotion to the next round. But it is what it is. I really can't complain in the end, but yeah, I agree with you. I would have loved the integration.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're both at the same spot where it's just like, we don't care, just give us soccer.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's hop right into this. Group A is the only 16 group in there. We've got Orlando, Inter Miami, NYCFC, Philadelphia, Chicago, and Nashville. Some people are not happy that like this 16 group, it's a little bit harder for teams to advance, just mathematically speaking. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they did add a change to where the third place team will also advance a little bit. But either way, I mean, I think this group might already be decided. I know that might be a hot take, but looking at the top two teams in that group, it's got to be NYC, Philadelphia, two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. And then with the third seed, it could really go for anyone. I'm going to go with the Chicago Fire here. You might disagree, you might agree. In terms of the Group A setup, it just makes sense looking at the other groups. I mean, you have 26 teams. You're not going to get a multiple of 4 for every group, and this was the easiest way to make it.
Well, the reason why I'm not that butthurt about it is because, like, this is easily the weakest group. Like, there's 2 expansion teams, 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs, and you got New York City and Philly, who are both really good. I'm going to shock you with these picks. You ready for this?
Yes.
Number 1 seed I got is Philly. Number 2, I got Orlando. And number 3, I got Chicago. And then I've got Miami, NYCFC in 5th, and Nashville in 6th. And let me just explain this. NYCFC, if this is like a normal 34-game season like 2020, easily a playoff team. But so far, I think they played 5 games in the year with 2 regular season, 3 Champions League. They had 1 game where they were like world beaters, and then they had 3 games where they were shut out 1-0. So with a new coach and this whole pandemic thing going on, I don't know if logistically, if this team is ready to start competing right away. I think if this was normal regular season, they'd be ready to get going right now. They'd be, start to make their move up the table. But right now, I have a lot of questions about NYCFC. Like, I know they got A-Bear. I know they got a lot of firepower up top, but I'm picking them to miss the knockout rounds in this one.
I see what you're saying about NYCFC, and yes, they did struggle at the beginning of the season, but I do think NYCFC has one of the most balanced rosters, and I think they have a lot of great depth to know what to expect from the coaching side of things as they keep filtering out coaches. But at the same time, this team has a lot of talent, and I do think they're one of the favorites to really win the whole tournament but go very far.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those teams where, like, I'm picking them to miss. If they end up in the final, I guess I wouldn't be that surprised. I just think, you know, with everything going on, I think one of these teams is going to crap the bed, and I think it's going to be City. So, sorry, New York fans.
They do that traditionally in the playoffs. So.
Yep, that's true. All right, moving on. Group B, we got Toronto. We've got New England, Montreal, and DC. What are you thinking about this group?
I think that's Group C, but we could talk about
Group C, that's right.
Yes. Toronto's got to be the favorite to advance here. And then a lot of people didn't have them in some of the other shows that I've gone on, but I think New England is going to be the second team group. I think if one coach has the experience in these World Cup style tournaments, it's got to be Bruce Arena, the most winning coach in MLS history. And he has a great talented roster with guys like Heel and Bo. So I think New England are definitely going to be the second team. And then I have Montreal at third as maybe one of the wild card team into the knockout round, but I have DC United as the odd man out here. They didn't look very good in their first two matches, and I don't trust Ben Olsen's ability to get this team through to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost the same. I'm really high in New England, so I have New England 1 and I have Toronto 2, and it's for the mostly the same reasons that you said. I mean, I think Bruce Arena is the only coach that is in this group that's coached in this kind of tournament, whether it's like 3 group stage games. So he knows how to rotate the roster quickly for these games. Toronto and Montreal, that kind of rivalry, those two teams a lot of times end up playing to a draw. So I could see Montreal stealing a point away from Toronto there. So I have them third. And I just don't buy DC this year. I know they've had some interesting offseason signings like Ola Kamara and Julian Gressel, but they still got to replace Wayne Rooney and Lucha Acosta. And I don't know if they've done either of that. So we're almost the same in this group. I just have New England 1, Toronto 2, and then Montreal 3, DC 4.
Yeah, completely understandable.
Yeah. So moving on, Group E. Last group, we have Atlanta, Columbus, RedBull, and FC Cincinnati. I still think Atlanta is really, really good, even without Joseph Martinez, but I think the loss does take them down a little bit. Columbus, they had one player test positive for the virus. We don't know who it is yet. But even still, I like Columbus to finish on top of this group, and I've got Atlanta second, RedBull third, and FC Cincinnati fourth. I just don't have much faith in Cincinnati at all. And RedBull, for whatever reason, they always play Atlanta really, really tough, with the exception of the 2018 playoffs. So I expect them to steal some points away from Atlanta, and maybe that's how Columbus ends up on top of this group.
Yeah, basically the same, except for swap Cincinnati and the Red Bulls.
Ooh, okay.
A lot of people really want to see Cincinnati go on a Cinderella run, and me playing into that because I want to see it too. I don't think they're that great of a side, and we don't know exactly what we're going to get. But I'm kind of knocking down the Red Bull. I don't like this team as a whole, and I don't think that they are nearly what the Red Bulls used to be. And what the Red Bulls used to be were also
yeah.
playoffs.
And you know, I always feel like I undersell FC Cincinnati, and like some of the people that watch my videos like call me out, and they're always like, "Why are you so negative on Cincinnati?" To be honest, the first 2 games of the year, I know they didn't win those, but they did look a little bit better than I thought they would. So I still have them finishing last in this group, but they have already played Red Bull this season, so maybe they can get a little bit of revenge in this group stage format. So yeah, we actually have a lot of things we agree on the Eastern Conference. I think our biggest thing is just New York City FC. I don't have them through. You have everyone else kind of the same, just switch a couple teams around. Moving on, Western Conference. Group B, probably the weirdest group of all, because just a few days ago it was looking pretty certain which teams were going to move on. We got Seattle Sounders, FC Dallas, San Jose Earthquakes, and Vancouver Whitecaps. Your number one team, let me guess, is it Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have guessed that one. But how about the rest of the group now?
So a few days ago, I was going to record a video of why I thought FC Dallas was the most slept-on contender to win it all. But then the COVID cases happened, and it's very hard for me to say a lot of the things I want to say, even though we don't know which of the 10 players got Chris. Either way, this is going to be detrimental to the team, and now I don't see them advancing, which really sucks because I really liked FC Dallas heading into the tournament. Yeah, I'm going to go with San Jose as I think FC Dallas might scrape a couple points. But San Jose, I knocked down Almeida a lot because I think a lot of the hype the last year is a bit overrated given the fact they didn't make the playoffs. But then again, they still got a similar squad to last year's squad and better with them. So I'm going to go San Jose now as my second, Dallas third, Vancouver fourth.
Well, I'm one of those people that overhypes Almeida because I love him. I loved him back when he was with Chivas, and I didn't even think he had a great roster last year, and he took them, pretty close to the playoffs. I think they just missed out, right, by a few points. Yeah, Dallas, it's tough because, like you said, we don't know which players have tested positive, and I know a lot of people online are asking which players those are. The reason why those players aren't released, their names aren't released, is because of HIPAA. It's patient confidentiality thing. So I don't think we'll ever know until the games are actually being played. It's one thing if it's, a couple reserve guys, if it's a couple bench guys, but if it's Paxton Pomical, if it's some of the big guns, then yeah, I could see this team finishing. I could have seen them finishing as high as first, and now I'm definitely not going to do that. So just to be on the safe side, I have to put them finishing last because I don't know. They might even end up pulling from the tournament. We already know their first game is postponed. I don't think anyone else is going to pull from the tournament because no one else has the number of cases that they have. I don't know what they would do if they were to pull from the tournament, how that would affect the regular season. Maybe it would just count as 3 losses for them. But I'm just going to stick them at last because I don't really know anything about what's going on. They're not even training right now. I have San Jose second, and then Vancouver third, and Dallas fourth. So pretty similar on that end too. Group E. Group D. Excuse me. Group D. We've got RSL, Minnesota, Kansas City, and Colorado. This, in my opinion, is definitely the most competitive group.
So this one's a bit hard for me because now that FC Dallas isn't my most slept-on contender, I actually think it's the Colorado Rapids. Because I really like this. Kevin Frazier is a great coach, and they have a great back line. They had great offseason additions, and then they also have MLS veterans like Kai Kamara in there. I will not have them as my first place team in the group. I'm going Sporting Kansas City 1 because I really think they are a contender to win it all. Minnesota originally had second, but I think without Iko Para, who announced that he won't make it to the tournament, that will be detrimental to that back line because I think we could agree is the best defense, and taking that guy out of the squad, especially when they don't really have that great of center back depth, is pretty big for them. So I'm actually going to go Colorado second, to third, but they might still sneak by as one of the 3 seeds. And RSL, unfortunately, here, even though I like RSL, I definitely think they're the weakest.
Yeah, and that's surprising because RSL is considered one of the top 6 seeds, along with Seattle, LAFC, Atlanta, Toronto, and then Orlando, but Orlando as the host. I mean, I don't think anyone else would call them a top seed for anything else. Yeah, I completely agree with Minnesota because just before the news that Iko Para was out, I had them finishing on top of the group. Now I have them finishing down at third. So I have SKC at number 1. I'm same with you on that one. I think they were just decimated by injuries last year. But I still think this is a really, really good team year in and year out. I expect them to be pretty good for this tournament as well. And number 2, I have RSL. I don't know why because the MLSsoccer.com, they also had them finishing 4th place. I don't know what it is. I think they're a pretty decent side. I mean, they replaced coaches midway throughout the year last year and still finished as high as 3rd place in the conference. So I have RSL 3rd. I have RSL 2nd. All right, I have SKC 1st, RSL 2nd, Minnesota 3rd, and Colorado 4th. But I agree with you that Colorado is a sneaky pick because they have looked pretty decent their first 2 games of the season, and I definitely expect them to steal some points away. This is not going to be a team that finishes up 0-3 in the group stages. They're going to get some points, whether it's a win here or a couple ties. So I expect this to be a really competitive group, and I expect this to be the group that only has 2 teams advancing, because I think every team is just going to be taking points away from each other. So there's not going to be like one super dominant team. And I had this in my notes, and I wish I would have said this, but I think Minnesota losing Ike Opara is actually a bigger deal than LAFC losing Carlos Vela. I know Carlos Vela, he's the MVP. I know he put up just video game numbers, but without Carlos Vela, I think LAFC is still a playoff team. Without Ike Opara, I'm not sure I can say the same thing about Minnesota.
I 100% agree. And we also need to consider the fact that Minnesota doesn't have Vito Manone this year. They definitely downgraded there. So you now are losing the goalkeeper of the year from last year and the defender of the year from a team that was a playoff team, but not the best playoff team. I think this is pretty detrimental to their hopes of advancing.
All right, last group. One of the most interesting groups because you got El Tráfico, LAFC, LA Galaxy, and then you also got Houston Dynamo and Portland Timbers. Even without Carlos Vela, I have LAFC finishing 1st place in this group. I just think they are just stacked across the board. I have some questions about the goalkeeper position. He didn't impress me that much in Champions League and in their first 2 games. But I still love LAFC, even without Carlos Vela. And then 2nd place, I got the Galaxy. Even though I'm not sure they know what to do with Chicharito. I'm not even sure if he's 100% committed to playing in this tournament. There's been a couple rumors where I think he might be out. 3rd place, I got Houston Dynamo, and 4th place, I got Portland. Portland's kind of the same deal as DC United. I'm just not buying them this year. I don't think they have enough firepower up top. I know Jeremy Abobasi, he's supposed to be the guy. I just haven't seen enough out of him yet. So I think there's still too many questions up top for him. So Portland 4, Houston 3, Galaxy 2, and LAFC 1. I will say that this is one group that I have been going back and forth on because I'm not sure if I really want to buy the Galaxy yet.
Yeah, and it kind of pains me to actually have the Galaxy as the bottom in this group. I have LAFC 1. I'm still flipping between Portland and Houston for 2, just because it might be a very underrated team heading into the tournament. But I'm going to go with Portland at 2 just because I think they have that veteran core that has been there for a long time. And then the reason why I have the Galaxy at the bottom is not just the Chicharito situation, but the Galaxy are winger down with Alexander Katai part of the team. They don't have a starting winger on that right side. They have Pavone, and I love Pavone, but I think he's more of a complementary piece than a changer. And we haven't seen what Chicharito can do for the Galaxy. He's not the target man Zlatan was. He is a goal poacher. And we haven't seen how Guillermo Barcelotto's system deals with a player like that because it's been so reliant on sending in crosses to a guy that could beat everyone. So I'm a little worried about the Galaxy here, especially with also their defensive issues from the past couple of years heading into this tournament. I think what's great in this tournament overall is having a strong back line, and you can't really say that about the Galaxy. So that's why I have them at the end. And yeah, Portland, I think they had a pretty good offseason. We're just yet to see what those guys could actually do in MLS. I still have them going as 2, and then Dynamo 3rd. I think we both agree LAFC are still going to win the group, whether Vela is there or not. Their squad is just too good, and they're so cohesive as a unit. Sure, Vela being out might maybe hurt their title chances, but they're still going to be the favorite in the group.
There it is, group stage predictions for the MLS is Back tournament. Now remember, This Week in MLS, give them a follow on Instagram, and also remember to give us your predictions on who you think is advancing in the MLS is Back tournament. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.